Oh, good grief. We're here at last. And I've forgotten to put my headphones on, so you're probably going to have got an awful lot of game audio coming in through my microphone. Megaphone? Completely different thing. Hello, good peoples, and welcome to Return to Ringworld. Let's watch the intro.
It is a time of peace between human and Zin, a tenuous peace nearly shattered by a recent revelation.
Do I need to advance this? I've forgotten. I do.
The Zinti Patriarch received information that centuries ago, during the Man-Zin Wars, puppeteers secretly aided the humans. Insane with rage, the Patriarch decreed that all puppeteers must die. Plotting puppeteer extermination, he sent a planet-destroying warship to annihilate the puppeteer fleet of worlds. Fortunately, a band of three unlikely companions, Sika, Miranda, and Quinn, discovered these plans and determined to thwart them. In their stolen spacecraft, the Lance of Truth, and with puppeteer guidance, our heroes set out to explore Ringworld, searching for technology that would assist them. Using artifacts recovered from their expedition, our heroes destroyed the Zinti warship with an antimatter explosion. Meanwhile, another power claims Ringworld as its jurisdiction. The commander of this force is General Carson Teal. His flagship, the Juggernaut, hovers in space near Ringworld.
Oh yeah, look at them ray-traced graphics. I honestly thought this looked great as a kid, and I've still got a strong nostalgia for the look. And I mean, this did look great as a kid. The 90s.
You're certain this information is correct? This transport device, it actually exists?
Yes, General. I've studied it up close.
Puppeteers were all meant to have incredibly attractive feminine voices as part of manipulating humans, because it's sexist and it's sci-fi from the 70s. This game, however, has a certain we didn't have voice actors, so we had people from around the studio feel to it.
If everything goes according to plan, you, or shall I say we, will soon possess the components necessary to make it operational.
If this stepping disc device, as you call it, does in fact lead to other worlds, I must gain exclusive control of it.
Yes, General, but do not forget, there is another discovery of equal importance that would be most prudent to investigate.
The Noctipun ship. Yes. Imagine a perfectly preserved billion-year-old spaceship. Sounds like a fascinating antique. The Arm will be pleased with my discovery.
Amalgamated Regional Militia. This game kind of delves deep into Ringworld minutiae, even if absolutely nothing about this game is canonical as of the second Ringworld book.
Accept it as a token of my good faith. You will find the ship right where I have indicated.
I've been curious about something, Webster. Puppeteer assistance is never without its price.
I'm not sure why the puppeteer is called Webster. All the ones in the books that adopt human names tend to take them from Greek mythology. Chiron and Nessus are the two most prominent.
What's in this for you?
My presence on this mission suggests that I am either suicidal, which I am not, or truthful. The experimentalist hindmost is somewhere on the Ringworld.
The hindmost is the puppeteer's leader. Experimentalist is one of their two political parties.
I intend to find and retrieve the rightful ruler of my people. All I ask in return is that you assist me in the recovery.
General Teal, you asked me to inform you when the pilots were ready.
Very good. Alert the flight deck. I'm on my way. Tell the communications officer to contact our base on Ringworld and inform them of my departure.
Yes, General.
The fact that ARM are able to reach Ringworld kind of violates the canon. Mostly because, I mean, even in the first game in this, you need a Tier 2 hyperdrive to get there in any reasonable amount of time. It's just too far away otherwise. ARM shouldn't have that technology at least until the 4th book.
Meanwhile, near the Puppeteer Fleet of Worlds.
The only reason the heroes in the first game could do it is because they literally stole the prototype Tier 2 hyperdrive that humanity was making. That being it, the Lance of Truth. I just realised I'm recording the second game in the series again. Anyway, meet our hero. His name is Quinn. He is one of the adopted sons of Louis Wu, the protagonist of the Ringworld books. The game ties into the books in a few ways. The Zin, who was among the heroes, is called Seeker. He's Kami's son. Just a quick note on Zin. Zin use titles for names until they earn a name. However, since the Patriarch attempted to assassinate Seeker's family, he rejected his name and took up Seeker of Vengeance as a name. Anyway, here are our controls. If we right-click, we can, by default, clicking moves us around, but right-clicking brings up this interface. So we can look at, walk to, use. That's the credits, that's talk to, and this is the main menu. That little icon is Tsunami. That's the company that made the game. Also, enjoy this voice acting. The most bored narrator ever.
This stepping disc reminds you of your recent narrow escape from the antimatter explosion.
He's in no hurry to speak, and this game in general is in no hurry to do anything. It was certainly in no hurry to get recorded properly. A stepping disc is essentially an open teleporter, by the way. You step on it, you go to wherever the other one is. It's puppeteer technology.
This is a stasis negator gun you picked up on your previous trip to Ringworld.
I'll be the first to admit, this is not a good game. It's a game with a lot of nostalgia for me, though, because it is, I think, either the first or second game I ever played. And I quite like the Ringworld series. Yep, just meander over there, mate. This is definitely a futuristic computer. Oh, it's got a touchscreen at least.
You have no use for this item.
Right, you gotta press the buttons. Hero's tongue is the Zinti language. I'm not going to press that because otherwise I would have an absolute pain trying to find my way back to the language setting. There is an entire little minigame in here. It's not much fun. I can order food for absolutely no reason, and I can read through about 5 hours, not that much, of personal logs which aren't interesting. The database has its uses. The star chart is a load of pretty pixels. This would read disks, but we don't have any disks. We will have to use the computer later, just not now. First things first, let's head on up to the bridge. In your own time, Quinn. If this guy looks a little too old to be the son of a protagonist, the protagonist of the book, I should point out that Louis Wu is 200 years old. Humanity's got a lot better about aging. Most of the decks aren't operational because this ship was still being built when we pinched it. It was Quinn and Seeker who pinched it. Miranda, who was the third member of our ship, wasn't originally in on this. She was an engineer who happened to be on board when we stole it, and we only found that out later. Also, backing up they just got people from around the office. I'm not sure many professional voice actresses sound this much like they're from New York. I think this is a New York accent. I'm not great at American accents. Or any kind of accent.
Quinn, where have you been? Our little antimatter explosion may have destroyed the Patriarch's planet, killer, but it also sent our ship system buffers into overload.
The planet killer.
While you were sleeping in, Seeker and I have been frantic trying to keep the Lance of Truth space-worthy. I have most of the engineering systems back online, but the quantum drive went into stasis, and I can't get the field to reset.
The technobabble is broken?
How can I help?
Find some way to disable the stasis field on the quantum drive. And while you're at it, find out if Seeker is having any problems with the astrogation system.
I'll see what I can do.
Miranda, Quinn must be updated. Tell him the other news.
Seeker's voice is okay.
Other news?
Quinn is just generically heroic.
We've got another little problem, Quinn.
Miranda is just sarcastic.
All of the comm channels are abuzz about us. We're wanted for the theft of Lance of Truth. The Patriarch has a price on our heads. Even the puppeteers have offered a reward for our capture and the return of our cargo.
They have branded us criminals.
Criminals? Didn't we just prevent an interstellar war? They should be calling us heroes.
The Patriarchy will deny everything. We conveniently destroyed the evidence that would have cleared our names.
Huh. I guess I should have expected that. Now the puppeteers think we're at their mercy.
We should return to Ringworld and exile ourselves. While we're there, we must try to find a way to prove our innocence.
The puppeteers will guess that's our next move. But we have no other choice.
If the puppeteers do predict our return to Ringworld,
That's the title of the
stay
game.
alert. With the price on our heads, they may think we're worth more dead than alive. Personally, I prefer the latter alternative.
What progress has been made salvaging the astrogation database?
Quinn, I've been claws out trying to prevent the cascade failure of all the affected systems.
Are you telling me you've lost the data pertaining to Ringworld's location?
Yes, the coordinates for Ringworld were stored in volatile memory.
Fortunately, I still have the info disk from Louis Wu.
That
Oh,
disk
right.
contains Ringworld's location coordinates? Where is it?
The books themselves go back and forth. Occasionally, Louis says his name phonetically, except in one book it's spelled as if he pronounces it the French way, and then in a later book it's spelled... This game goes with Louis. I'm going to say Louis.
Before our mission, I had it surgically implanted for safekeeping.
As you do.
Well, I suggest you retrieve it immediately, or I may do it for you. My way.
Right. Can I ask you...
Yes, Quinn?
Whoop, sorry about that. Oh, darn it.
Miranda, please tell me what you're doing.
Can't Quinn pay attention?
There ain't no justice. Future swearing. Naturally, there's only one swear word in the future.
Sorry. I must have been distracted.
I got most of the engineering systems back online.
Anyway, she's just going to
And
repeat
you-
herself
Find
of what we need to
some
do.
way.
I'm on it.
We are on it. Very, very slowly. I'm not sure how I had the patience to play this when I was a kid. There wasn't a lot to do in the early 90s. Down to deck 5. Unless I was meant to go to deck 2, I forget. Yep. Going down an elevator. Poke the panel, because it's an adventure game and you've got to poke everything.
multi-purpose retention clamp holds a transfer conduit in place.
I'm not sure you need to add multi-use to clamp, but okay. And I'm going to take some wires because it's an adventure game and you take everything.
This door is locked.
Well, I mean, I did literally just rip a wire out of the panel, I'd assume it is. Mind, that seems like a bad safety practice that the doors stay locked if you rip wires out. It's the med bay! And this is where we get stuck because there's a million little things to click on here that you got to notice.
Only discs with medic.
Also, this background, it's not background. It's a cabinet. You're lucky I remember most of the puzzles. This is a radio of some description, I can't remember.
But one which will not generate results.
Get used to that phrase. If you ever misclick, he's going to be saying that. Or some variant of it. Regardless of how good your idea was.
A button.
Okay.
An auto dock.
Thank you. Just, you're not going to tell me what the button does, or... Anyway, this is the auto dock. Since we've got the thingamabob surgically implanted, let's have a quick diagnosis to find out where it is. Alright, that's a map. There's nothing wrong with me as such, except foreign object extraction would fall under advanced treatments. And unfortunately for me, I don't have an access code for it. Lord and land. You know, I generally tend to record for about half an hour to 45 minutes for these. I'm not sure I'm even going to do the first puzzle in the game. At the rate Quinn walks. I do maintain this is a decent game as old adventure games go. The puzzles aren't bad, it's just very slow. Anyway, if I remember correctly, we've got to head back on up. Can't remember which one of these was our room. We want to go into the other one. Trudge, trudge, trudge. There we go. Into this laboratory. And pick up this item specifically. Because this is...
a personal programmable reader.
Which won't actually do anything for us at the moment, but... we also want to grab this kettle-looking thing.
A hyperconducting attractor unit.
Which we, on regular Earth, would call a magnet.
A programmable sensor probe.
Yeah, that name makes too much sense to make fun of. I'm getting a lot of random technological doodads. Also, I'm not sure why on what's apparently a sleeping floor? Crew quarters, there's a laboratory. Because, anyway, what we've got to do now is head back on up to Miranda. Because we don't know what the access code is, but she's the one who's got access to the systems. Slow walking.
Miranda, I need some assistance with the auto dock.
Why? Are you injured?
Do you have to be sarcastic with literally every dialogue line, lady?
No. I just want the auto dock to perform one of the extended functions, and I can't get it to cooperate.
Hey, that's like me in DOSbox. I mean OBS. I mean DOSbox and OBS.
I think there's something in the technical manual about that. If you can find a reader, I'm sure the technical information about the autodock can be accessed.
Did she just tell me to RTFM? Hey, lady, read it.
Here, Miranda. Let me give you this.
What's this for?
I was hoping you could tell me.
Oh, that's right. The information in this reader requires my access code. What did you want the autodock to do?
Foreign object extraction.
Okay, it should work now. Just connect the reader to the autodock. The reader will automatically reprogram the autodock to perform the extraction.
Thanks.
There we go. Now back on down to actually the second floor, because I think I forgot something else down there. At least it's on the way to the fifth floor. The fifth floor. I'm not good at words at the best of times, and when you start alliterating I stumble over everything. Anyway, this door on the right, I can't even point because my cursor hasn't loaded. The door on the right is Louis's room. That's the lab of sorts. One of these is Seeker's and one of these is Miranda's. It's high time we go and rob people.
The retractable storage table?
I think we do at least. If we don't, then I guess we just continue onwards. No, I guess we just continue onwards. My bad. I thought we had to grab a gun from Seeker's room. It must be somewhere else.
The elevator is...
Oh yeah, and the game will chew you out and actually pause the elevator to tell you that the elevator is already moving if you try to hurry up. This game is not in any sort of hurry. It's taking its time. This game is getting paid by the hour. I should record the Discworld adventure game as well. It is a lot quicker about it. Also, extension cords apparently don't exist in the future, and you have to rip a wire out of a random socket. Fortunately, Louis automatically plugs the other end of the wire into the reader. Good for you. Not Louis, Quinn. There we go, that's a perfectly sensible place to input an info disk. Surgery's quick in the future. And there we have it. And that disk, this thing here, will tell us where the Ringworld is. I really hope I don't need that reader again, because I can't be bothered to go back and pick it up. Onwards to the bridge. No, the engineering bay. Let's see if we can't get the hyperdrive unscrewed. And by engineering bay, I mean the landing bay. Number 2. Now, yes, it's logical that this would be a very big room, but it just means that I've got even further to walk. That was apparently a rope of some description. Trudgy trudge. I don't know why, but his pathfinding is completely screwed in this room. Note the massive swing away. That's an oxygen tank. I can't even be bothered to look at it. Just take my word, it's an oxygen tank. This, I'm going to look at just to ask you, why is it in here?
A canister of laser diffusion aerosol.
Why? Why is this in an airlock? An oxygen tank in an airlock makes perfect sense. I don't question that.
Your sonic stunner.
That gets half a why. I mean, there's better places for it than an airlock, but I guess if you're going outside, that's when you're most likely to want for reasons. Anyway, what we're going to do is take our random tow cable, our magnet, and tie it to the handhook. Then slowly meander our way over to this button. Talk amongst yourselves. We got a lot of time here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There! Including the time I was pissing about before, that was nearly half a minute of inaction just to do one thing. That said, we can't open the bay door, and that would be a stupid idea. We're in space. This thing is weirdly responsive. To go sideways, at least. Going along, it's slow. And is beep, 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 one at a time. I can't just hold it down. Oop. There we go. I wonder how you're meant to get up to that floor. Because that is the only way to get up here. Is to tie a kettle to a rope and use a tractor beam. I'm not going to count this time just because you got the idea. Quinn is a leisurely fellow. Now, okay, yes, climbing up a solid rope like that is difficult, I admit, but it's still slow. And this is the only door that works. But what's this? Is it action? Yes, it's action. At least until I find my can of air laser diffusal spray. Okay, now this puzzle is reasonably clever. As you can see, that thing came out when I came in. So what we're going to do is we're just going to stroll on up to it. Stroll on up to it. I wonder if it's lagging somehow. Is this just too much pixel action for it to handle? Anyway, we're going to take that clamp we found and stick it on there. And then we're going to leave. Yes, sir. We are going to leave. Quinn, man, come on. You know, normally when you run old programs, they run at stupidly high speeds because processors have gotten faster. That doesn't happen here. Anyway, when we're out, it decides to retract, but the clamp gets in the way, the doors close on it, and it is no more. Now, damned if I can remember why. You might have to look this up on the computer or something. What we have to do is set this to one specific frequency, damned if I can remember which. And yes, we are going to be getting this tone the entire time. Thank you for asking. I really hope this is the correct tone, because otherwise I'm going to have to put up with Quinn doing this. Because for some reason, the way you get rid of aerosol dispersal, laser aerosol dispersal, is to set an annoying tone and fire a sonic stunner at it. I'm sure there is some sort of logic. You might have to ask Quinn or Seeker. You might have to look it up on the in-game Wikipedia, which it's not quite a Wikipedia, but it's a dictionary of things. Oh, thank God I got the correct frequency first time. Thank you, memory. Oh, look, it was lag. That cloud of pixels was just too much for my poor computer to handle. And you wonder why I thought I'd have trouble running Grimrock. We can take the empty can, but there's no point. Also, something I forgot, this thing...
The stasis field has engulfed this compartment of the quantum drive.
That's a good thing that I've got.
The Noctipun stasis negator gun you picked.
But sadly,
negator gun does not appear to be functioning.
But fortunately, This thing is mislabeled.
A programmable sensor probe.
It's a screwdriver.
You remove the
You take the battery out,
You remove the power.
and you take the good battery out. Future problems. Here we go. There we go, the hyperdrive is back online, and I've got the data disk, which tells us where the Ringworld is. Let's go give them the good news up on the bridge. Come on, just jump. Well, he did jump. It's just he then caught the solid rope. Oh my good lord, man.
The elevator.
The longest elevator ride possible. Let's give Seeker the disk.
Here's the info disk Lewis Wu sent me before our first adventure. It should contain the location data for Ringworld.
Yes, the location is here. Wu also mentions my father. There, I copied the files into the ship's computer.
Seeker, I hope your father is still alive.
I could have actually put that disk into the computer and read the files. Yeah, they're not all that interesting, but I could have done.
Success.
Man your station, Quinn. Engaging quantum drive.
All systems stable and operational within specified parameters. Punch it, Seeker.
Yeah, Chewie.
ETA just under 3 hours. Good work, Quinn.
It is unnerving when a Zin smiles at you.
Meanwhile,
I still love the design of these things, arm hammerheads. This game influenced an awful lot of my interests, I think. Okay, these things make a horrible noise. Those are some piss-weak guns. Power walk from the lasers. It's still the fastest anyone's ever moved in this game. Yeah, that'll do it. This area was in the first game, by the way. Fortunately, the second game tones down the amount of Rishathra that occurs, and I'm not going to explain that term for you. Actually, the fact that term exists implies the second book had come out, which I guess means this game was never canon in the first place. Oh well, it's better than the later Ringworld books anyway. This one just violates all sorts of canon. He's wearing a stasis field. You can't do that. Stasis fields make you absolutely 100% indestructible by stopping time altogether for you. a flexible stasis field isn't possible. In fact, it's one of the weapons in the books, a molecule-thick wire held rigid by a stasis field. Because time doesn't pass, it's perfectly solid. And because it's a molecule thick, it's alarmingly sharp. The Ringworld. A solid band of matter.
Back in Ringworld space again. Funny, I don't feel any safer.
It's an astral unit wide, which is to say it's about one Earth orbit of circumference. It's 10,000 miles wide, of the up and down sort. The result is it's an unbelievably massive amount of living area. Those little dotty things in the center were the shadow squares. Basically, they orbit around and give a sort of day-night cycle by casting shadows onto the ring.
Knowing the puppeteers as well as we do, I don't think we should stop looking over our shoulders yet.
Basically, all of the Ringworld books are people going, holy crap, this thing is huge.
Ha! Herbivores. A Zin should not hide from the likes of them.
Yeah, it's an American game. Herbivore. For God's sake. It has an H in it. You're not French.
Unfortunately, Seeker, I don't really think we have much of a choice.
The puppeteers are herbivores. They are also massively, massively more technologically advanced by anyone other than anyone except the outsiders, who are strange jellyfish things who are utterly incomprehensible and aren't interested in anything much.
So, now that we're here, what should we do next?
Puppeteers are also colossal cowards.
Miranda?
Seeker knows more about approach maneuvers than I do. Ask him.
We saw a puppeteer in the intro. They have 3 legs, you couldn't see that bit, a camel-like hump, and 2 heads. The heads have 1 eye and a mouth each. The brain is located in the hump.
Well, Seeker, your opinion would be appreciated.
Perhaps we should do as Louis Wu recommended in the infodisc and enter Ringworld through Fist of God.
Fist of God is a meteor impact point on the ring. It hit the underside of the ring. It's never specified exactly how big. It seems to have been like a Mars-sized object struck the ring. It's made a mountain a good 1,000 miles high.
We'll need to scan the underside for the opening. Why don't you do that now, Quinn?
Don't mind if I do.
I'm going to skip asking them for hints because you've got to enter the right kind of scan. But you can work it out with a little bit of thinking. Okay, scan operations. And we are trying to hide from ARM. Well, we don't know about ARM, but we do know about the puppeteers here, so we can't actually do an active scan, otherwise they might find us. So it's a passive scan. Passive enabled. We're going to have to scan a long way for it. We are looking for a geographical feature.
Varied terrain.
My bad. I guess it was short scan we wanted. Maybe?
Solar body within 100 astronomical units.
Thank you very much. I guess it was active after all. Oh, it's passive later. I'm thinking 2 puzzles ahead. That was too deep. Anyway, there we are in relation to everything. Just in case you were wondering, there's Earth. There's Jinx. You don't know about Jinx and Down. But there's Zin. The Fleet of Worlds is where the puppeteers live. They long ago decided that stars were entirely too dangerous. I just realized I didn't actually make a scan, did I? I went back and used the star chart.
Negative scan.
Okay, Jesus Christ. Deep scan, geographical. That's what happened. It jumped back to star chart somehow. Why did it do that? Anyway, they decided that stars were too dangerous on account of the whole exploding thing. Active enabled. Deep scan. There we go. So while this is scanning, they decided that stars were entirely too dangerous, what with the whole exploding thing, and so they purchased technology from the outsiders which allowed them to move their planet. They had a whole planet that they live on. There's over 1 trillion puppeteers in it. They also have 4 worlds which are entirely automated with farming. All of the puppeteers live on the one planet. There's very, very few, they never specify exactly how many, but it's probably less than 1,000 puppeteers who have ever left their planet because they're such pathological cowards they cannot even stand the thought of going onto a spaceship because spaceships are dangerous. The only ones who do leave are insane by puppeteer standards. So the fleet of worlds is flying away. They also need to be away from stars because they produce too much waste heat,
Fist of God. Transferring coordinates now.
Their civilization will cook itself no matter how efficient their technology gets. As they put it, with a light source, even if it's perfect, some of the light is going to hit surfaces. If it's not a perfect mirror, it's going to absorb, it's going to make heat. No matter how perfect their energy sources are, they are going to cook themselves to death in their own heat if there's a star nearby, because there's so many puppeteers on their one planet.
I think our first stop should be the Canyon People village we visited last time. We can take another look at the Nukdipun ship. See if we learn anything new.
I think that is good advice. And I'm sure Miranda is anxious to renew her acquaintance with the chief of the Canyon People.
Still not explaining what Washatra is.
Is that supposed to be funny? Zinti have the strangest sense of humor.
Do you just leave off every H?
My attentions to the chief were strictly in the line of duty. But I have no problem with Quinn's idea. I'd like another chance to examine Nukdipun technology up close.
May we find favor with the rivers of destiny.
I'm not sure where that came from. Zin aren't terribly poetic normally. Yeah, we should be a microscopic atom speck with this sort of perspective. Like I said, Ringworld, 10,000 miles across at the narrowest point, 1,000 miles high on the wall that keeps the air in. It has gravity via rotational centrifugal force. And if you're going to complain about me saying centrifugal force, then bleh to you.
Things don't seem right here. Did you see the smoke?
I hope I'm wrong about this, but I thought I saw some bodies lying in the road, and they weren't moving.
Only one way to find out. Quinn, are you with me?
Right behind you.
Yeah, Zin might look like giant tigers.
I'll stay on the Lance of Truth.
But they have rat-like tails.
The sublight engines still need a tweak or two, but keep me informed, okay?
Will do, Miranda. And keep the motor running, just in case we need to make a fast getaway.
That's definitely how spaceships work. You know, I'm not sure this game has any music.
Quinn, come here. It's the chief of the Canyon People. He's badly wounded.
Oh, there's some music.
Quinn, look out!
Action!
Tange, a welcoming party. Just what we needed.
See, only one swear word in the future.
Mirror images reflect off the stormtroopers' impenetrable stasis field armor.
Impenetrable, you say? We'll see about that. Oh,
Your stunner had no effect on his silver suit.
apparently it is. What a shame for him, we're holding a stasis negator gun.
He was wearing stasis armor.
Oops,
The
sorry.
Amalgamated Regional Militia? What is the ARM doing on Ringworld?
Thankfully, you can more or less imply what Quinn was saying from Seeker's response.
I could take a wild guess.
Oh yeah, Quinn is X-Arm. And I've remembered this button isn't credits. My mistake. It's actually switch character. You can do that from the start, but Seeker and Miranda are just sitting at their desks and won't move. Anyway, I'm letting him take the shot. Oh, he's going down in full Star Trek fashion.
He must have activated his automatic self-destruct system. The ARM doesn't believe in letting their soldiers get captured. Even more so now that they develop personal stasis armor.
Which again is impossible.
Such armor would prove invaluable on a field of battle. If it wasn't for that Nuctive negator, he would have been invincible.
Yeah, we got this thing off the Nuktapan ship that we came to investigate. Right, now while I could go and talk to the dying chief, this seems like an excellent point to stop playing this game. It is a good game, there's some very cool scenes and moments, and one of them in particular has inspired one of my longest running ideas of a game I would love to see exist. The game about building a spaceship out of junk that you find, because later we would get stranded on a platform where ships that have visited the Ringworld over the millennia have become wrecked and abandoned. And you basically cobble together bits to make a Franken ship that can fly just a little short distance in a desperate hop. But overall, I think I've made it perfectly clear how I feel about this game. It's cool, it's nostalgic, it's not fun to play. It's a good adventure game held down by the fact that it runs at 1/5 of the speed that it should do. Thank you all so much for joining me. I'm the Flying Banana. I'll catch you next time.